Hi, welcome to the Sew Along 2018. We're getting through these blocks today. We're going to do block 24 out of 25, and that means that we're pretty near the end now. So we've been going for a while making these blocks and they're coming together really nicely. The Sew Along has got a New Zealand flavour. We're using some delicious fabrics by Nutex with a wonderful New Zealand flavour to them. And so today we're doing an applique block. It's block 24, as I mentioned. It's this little fantail. The fantails are just a little bird. They have a little tail that they flick and fan out, and they're very playful in the way they move and flit around. Kind of exciting. So if you've already purchased the pattern, you will have the download ready to go. So we've got the two blocks featured. We've got the pattern shapes for you to trace in both directions so that you can have two birds going in opposite directions. So I've already done one block. We're going to do the second block. So it's just some more applique. This is the last applique block. It's a little bit fiddly. The fantails have quite a lot of little feathers in their tail. So I've already started my block because you don't need to see every aspect. I've done the branch, I've popped the feet on and stitched around them. We've done all this before, but I thought I'd just show you about the positioning with the tail as much as anything. So I've gone ahead and I've popped my beak on, all the pieces are numbered, and I've started with the tail, but I'll just run through how I've got there and start putting the rest of the tail on. So we start off with the branch, then we pop the feet on, and to get everything positioned correctly, it's a good idea to have your other shapes. So even for the feet and things, I've got my bird body there, so I made sure that the bird body was sitting about where I wanted it. With the wing, I've popped the beak in there, and now I've just started on the tail. So the tail obviously needs to come out of the tail area of the bird. Because I've used the steamer seam, it's a little bit adhesive, so it sits quite nicely while I'm playing. So I've still got the rest of my tail feathers here, and I'm just going to peel the paper off. They are all numbered, so if you want to keep them in that particular order, or you can move them around a little bit, but in general we're looking for a nice rounded fan shape because that is what they have. So I'm just going to get these pieces. So now, because I've already positioned my tail, so I have put the bird there and I've positioned a piece which I've already done, and I've actually stitched those three in place. So by putting the body there in a temporary way, don't iron it on yet, we can get the tail sorted out and then come back and pop the bird on. So when you're popping the tail feathers on, they do need to overlap at the point where they come out from the back end of the bird, because otherwise they'll spread around too much, and they really need to be fairly sort of central to the bird. So it does get quite bulky just in that central area. However, I think that it's fine. On my sample one that I've made up here, there is a little bit of bulk, but actually it's stitched beautifully. It wasn't a problem at all. So I have faith in your abilities. This is probably the fiddliest little applique block that we've done. However, by doing it last, you now have gained lots of confidence with your applique, and that you shouldn't have any trouble at all doing this block. So I'm just going to position all these on, and before I iron them in place, I'll check again with the bird body to make sure I'm happy with all the positioning so that it's not too late. So they're just overlapping in the central area, but not so much out at the ends. So here's my bird back again. I'm going to pop him on there. Now I feel that it's come around a little bit far around here, so I need to adjust these last couple that I've put on. They're not overlapping quite enough to that central point. And I think these sort of things are quite important. Even though it seems like a small detail, we want to make things look as good as we possibly can. And it's little things like this that can make that sort of difference. Yeah, personally I feel a little bit happier with that. It was coming out too far around there. So these are just sitting. I now need to press those in place. Not yet the bird body. I'm going to do the stitching on the tail before I put the body on, so that I can just leave all my ends underneath there without having to worry too much. So now just another thought with ironing this amount on, because we're quite thick in here, the heat might not get right through. So I'm going to just hold it on there for just a couple of seconds, and then I'm going to turn it over and iron again so that it's heating from both sides, and hopefully that glue will then just set nicely so that everything sits in place. That's all looking pretty good. So now it's back to the sewing machine to do some more stitching. So a little bit of starting and stopping, doing it this way. You could do each tail feather individually, as I have with some other shapes. However, I felt that it was quite good to get the tail all sort of on so that we know everything is sitting correctly. So I'm just going to start on this little outside one here and work my way in. Just take your time, there's no need to hurry. So just coming down the last tail feather now down to this bulky bit in the centre, but it seems to be okay. Just finish it off down there. And we should have the fan of the fantail. So I'm pretty excited about that, it's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to give it a quick press, even though everything is sitting quite nicely. Pressing always just helps things sit in together. And now we can position the bird body, but again I'm not going to do the wing just yet. I'm just going to pop the bird on itself. Again, so that where that wing is going to actually just stick down there, I can stop and start in that area without having to have to tie off all my threads and things. So I think basically I'm probably just a little bit lazy. So back to the sewing machine to stitch around that, and then I'll pop the wing on, and then the bird will be done. So just finishing the wing, so nearly done this bird. I love the little fantails. They always appear to be very friendly, because if you're walking through the bush and they're around, they'll follow you around. They love to come into the house if you have it all open in the summer. But they're just delightful to have around. So here we've got a little fantail, and I'm just going to pop his little eye on with the pen like I've done before. You might want to embroider it. I'm going to do it with a pen. So it's just a little eye where birds have an eye, because he needs to see. And that little yellow bit on the fabric was most convenient. I now have a little eye with a little yellow bit. I'm not sure that they have yellow eyes, however. So that's the little fantail. It's all finished. You can see on the back that yes, there's a little bit of a mount in there where his tail goes on, but everything is sitting fine. I think it's looking great. So here's the two little fantails, and that's it for block 24. There's only one more block of the sew along to go. So it's getting pretty exciting. We're just about there. So we'll see you again next time.